The Arctic is a vast, icy wilderness where temperatures plummet and the sun barely rises for months, yet life endures. One creature reigns supreme in this challenging environment, the polar bear. Polar bears are the world's largest land predators, perfectly adapted to survive in one of the harshest environments on Earth. They are a symbol of the Arctic, inspiring awe and wonder. Their story is one of resilience and adaptation. In the frozen expanse of the Arctic, they are top predators. Their survival is intertwined with the health of the Arctic ecosystem. Understanding polar bears and the threats they face is crucial. Polar bears are found throughout the Arctic region, including Canada, Russia, Greenland, Norway, and the United States, Alaska. Their thick fur and layer of blubber keep them warm. Their powerful paws help them navigate the ice and snow. Polar bears are solitary creatures for most of the year, roaming vast distances in search of food. However, they come together during the breeding season. Females usually give birth to 1 to 3 cubs in snow dens. The cubs stay with their mother for around 2 years, learning essential survival skills from her. The Arctic experiences long, dark winters and short, cool summers. Despite harsh conditions, the Arctic teems with life. The icy waters are home to seals, walruses, and whales. On land, there are caribou, Arctic foxes, and lemmings. The Arctic plays a crucial role in regulating the Earth's climate by reflecting sunlight back into space. However, climate change is causing the Arctic to warm at an alarming rate, melting ice caps and glaciers. This has a devastating impact on the entire ecosystem, including polar bears. The Arctic is also home to indigenous peoples who have lived in harmony with nature for centuries. Their traditional knowledge is invaluable for conservation efforts. The Arctic is a fragile environment facing unprecedented challenges. It is essential to protect this unique ecosystem and the incredible wildlife that depends on it. International cooperation and individual actions are crucial to mitigating the impacts of climate change. Polar bears are perfectly adapted to their icy home. Their thick fur coats provide exceptional insulation, trapping warm air close to their bodies. Even their large paws are covered in fur for extra grip on ice and snow. Underneath their fur, polar bears have a thick layer of blubber that acts as insulation and an energy reserve. This combination of fur and blubber makes polar bears incredibly well suited to the cold. Polar bears are impressive swimmers with slightly webbed front paws aiding in paddling through the water. They can hold their breath for an impressive amount of time, regularly diving beneath the ice to hunt seals. Their keen sense of smell helps them locate seals even from a distance. They often wait near breathing holes in the ice, ambushing seals when they come up for air. Their powerful claws and sharp teeth make them formidable hunters. These adaptations ensure their survival in the harsh Arctic environment. Polar bears are true masters of their icy domain. The polar bear's diet is specialized and perfectly suited to its icy habitat. Their primary source of food is seals, which provide the high fat content necessary for survival. Seals need to surface to breathe, and polar bears exploit this vulnerability. One common hunting method is still hunting, where polar bears wait near seal breathing holes in the ice. When a seal surfaces for air, the polar bear strikes with lightning speed. Their powerful claws hook the seal, dragging it onto the ice. Polar bears also hunt seals on land, stalking them on ice floes or ambushing them when they come ashore. Their white fur provides excellent camouflage against the snow and ice. This allows them to approach their prey undetected. These hunting techniques make polar bears highly effective predators. Patience is a virtue in the Arctic, and polar bears are masters of the waiting game. They are opportunistic hunters, often involving long periods of stillness and observation. Polar bears have an incredible ability to conserve energy, lowering their metabolic rate when food is scarce. When a potential meal is spotted, they rely on stealth and cunning to secure their catch. They are surprisingly agile for their size, moving quickly and silently across the ice. Their powerful legs can propel them forward in short bursts of speed. The Arctic is a challenging environment, and polar bears have adapted to make the most of every opportunity. Their patience, combined with their physical prowess and hunting skills, makes them highly effective predators. While seals constitute the majority of a polar bear's diet, these adaptable predators are not limited to a single food source. They are opportunistic omnivores, consuming a variety of foods depending on availability. Polar bears will scavenge on whale carcasses when available, providing a significant source of fat and nutrients. During the summer months when the ice recedes, polar bears may supplement their diet with vegetation like berries, grasses, and seaweed. In some areas, polar bears prey on other Arctic animals, such as walruses, beluga whales, and even reindeer. These hunts are less common and typically occur when seals are scarce. The polar bear's diet is a testament to its adaptability. This flexibility is essential for survival in the Arctic. Polar bears are a marvel of evolution, perfectly adapted to survive in one of the most extreme environments on Earth. Their thick white fur coat consists of two layers, a dense undercoat and longer guard hairs. The undercoat traps a layer of warm air close to the bear's body, providing excellent insulation. The guard hairs are hollow and water repellent, helping to keep the bear dry. Beneath their fur, polar bears have a thick layer of blubber, which serves as both insulation and an energy reserve. This combination of fur and blubber allows polar bears to maintain a stable body temperature even in the most frigid conditions. Polar bears also have relatively small ears and a small tail, which helps to minimize heat loss. Their large paws are covered in fur, providing excellent traction on ice and snow. These physical adaptations, combined with their behavioral adaptations, make polar bears true masters of their icy domain. Their bodies are specifically designed to withstand the frigid temperatures, icy waters, and limited food availability of the Arctic. While polar bears are classified as land mammals, they are surprisingly adept swimmers. Their scientific name, Ursus maritimus, translates to maritime bear. They spend a significant amount of time in the icy waters, hunting seals and navigating between ice floes. Their large, slightly webbed paws act like paddles, propelling them through the water with surprising speed and agility. They can swim for long distances and at impressive speeds, reaching up to 6 miles per hour. Their thick layer of blubber not only provides insulation but also helps with buoyancy. Polar bears have developed remarkable physiological adaptations for diving. They can hold their breath for an extended period, typically around 1 to 2 minutes. Their nostrils close when submerged, preventing water from entering their lungs. These swimming and diving adaptations are crucial for their survival. Life in the Arctic is challenging, especially for young cubs. Polar bear mothers face the daunting task of raising their offspring in one of the harshest environments on Earth. The journey begins in snow dens, where cubs are born during the winter months. Female polar bears dig these dens in snowdrifts, creating a safe and insulated haven. The cubs, typically 1 to 3 in a litter, are born blind and helpless, relying entirely on their mother. They spend their first few months of life nestled in the den, nursing on their mother's fat-rich milk. As spring approaches, the mother and her cubs emerge from the den. The cubs are now ready to start learning essential survival skills from their mother. Cubs stay with their mother for around 2 years, learning valuable life lessons. This period of learning is crucial for the cubs' future success. The Arctic ecosystem is a complex web of life, delicately balanced and interconnected. Polar bears, as apex predators, play a vital role in this ecosystem. They help to regulate prey populations, such as seals, which in turn influences the populations of other species. However, this delicate balance is under threat. Climate change is causing the Arctic to warm at an alarming rate, twice as fast as the global average. The melting of sea ice, the primary hunting ground for polar bears, is shrinking their hunting season. As the ice recedes, polar bears are forced to spend more time on land where food is scarce. This can lead to starvation, particularly for young cubs and mothers. The changing climate also impacts other species in the Arctic, disrupting the delicate balance of the entire ecosystem. Protecting this fragile environment is crucial for the survival of polar bears and countless other species. The Arctic, a realm of ice and snow, is the polar bear's home. Their very existence is intertwined with the presence of sea ice. Yet, this frozen world is melting away at an alarming rate, a consequence of our warming planet. Climate change driven by human activities poses the most significant threat to the survival of polar bears. Sea ice forms on the ocean surface during the colder months and melts back during the warmer months. Polar bears rely on this seasonal ice to hunt their primary prey, seals. As the ice melts earlier in the spring and forms later in the autumn, polar bears face shorter hunting seasons. This shortened hunting period means less opportunity to build up the fat reserves they need to survive the lean summer months. The melting ice is literally shrinking their world, pushing them towards an uncertain future. Scientists predict that if current trends continue, the Arctic Ocean could be ice-free during the summer months within a few decades. As the ice melts, polar bears are increasingly forced to spend more time on land. This shift presents new challenges. On land, food is scarce. This brings polar bears closer to humans, leading to increased conflicts. The loss of sea ice disrupts migration patterns, making it difficult to move between essential habitats. While climate change is the most significant threat to polar bears, it is not the only one. Human activities in the Arctic, driven by industrial development, resource extraction, and increased shipping traffic, are putting further pressure on these vulnerable creatures. Oil and gas exploration in particular poses a direct threat to polar bears and their habitat. Oil spills are a constant risk in these icy waters, and a major spill would be devastating for polar bears. The oil would contaminate their fur, destroying its insulating properties and making them vulnerable to hypothermia. It would also poison their food sources and damage their delicate marine environment. Furthermore, increased shipping traffic through the Arctic poses a risk of collisions with polar bears and noise pollution that disrupts their hunting and communication. The construction of roads, pipelines, and other infrastructure fragments their habitat, making it more challenging for them to navigate and find food. The pursuit of economic opportunities in the Arctic must be balanced with the need to protect its fragile ecosystem and its iconic inhabitants. Sustainable development practices, strict environmental regulations, and responsible tourism are essential for minimizing the human footprint in the Arctic and ensuring the long-term survival of polar bears. The pristine Arctic, seemingly untouched, bears the burden of global pollution. Persistent organic pollutants travel through the atmosphere and accumulate in the Arctic. These pollutants enter the food web, threatening polar bears' health and reproduction. POPs cause immune suppression, hormonal disruption, and developmental issues in cubs. The long-term impact on polar bears is a serious concern. Addressing Arctic pollution requires global cooperation and reducing harmful emissions. The Arctic is changing. The once pristine land of ice and snow is transforming due to a warming planet. Polar bears are on thin ice, their existence threatened by human activities. Their plight is a stark reminder of climate change's far-reaching impacts. We have journeyed through the Arctic, explored the polar bear's domain, and witnessed their remarkable adaptations. Their story is one of resilience and the urgent need for conservation. The Arctic is sending us a message of urgency. The fate of polar bears hangs in the balance. We must act now to protect polar bears and the Arctic ecosystem. Polar bears are sentinels of the Arctic, indicators of the health of this fragile ecosystem. Their fate is a barometer for climate change impacts. As apex predators, they maintain the Arctic food web balance. Protecting polar bears means protecting the Arctic. The Arctic influences climate patterns and supports indigenous communities. The challenge before us is clear. We must mitigate the impacts of climate change and reduce our footprint on the Arctic. This requires a global effort, a collective commitment to transitioning to a more sustainable future. The Arctic transcends national boundaries, and its fate is intertwined with the actions of nations around the world. Agreements like the Paris Climate Accord provide a framework for global cooperation. The future of polar bears rests in our hands. The choices we make today will determine their fate. We can choose a path to a healthier planet. Imagine a future where polar bears thrive, human activities in the Arctic conducted sustainably. Polar bears no longer on the brink, but thriving. This future is within reach. It requires a collective effort. Let us work together to ensure these magnificent creatures continue to grace our planet. The time to act is now.